Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and welcome to the heartland of America, to the Virginia International Raceway, where we're getting set for 3 more races in the ARLTC Championship. We've had a fantastic start to the season. We've been to Silverstone and now we're here at Virginia, where alongside me in the commentary box, alongside me Adam Buff, is Andrew Woodhouse. We've got Sam Coomer on the cameras, and Andrew, we're looking forward to this one. This is probably one of the longer tracks we go to on the calendar, just over 5 kilometres. And as we can see from, well, as I can see and the viewers can see for the qualifying session that we've got going on at the moment, it's pretty frantic out there to try and find some clear air to get a lap in.
Yeah, tremendous circuit. Good evening, everybody. Fantastic track. A lot of cars out there. Very, very technical circuit. Lots of different types of corners. Slow, fast, blind, off camber. Pretty much everything you can find here. Hairpins. And the drivers are really going to have to wrestle these Audi TCRs around this Virginia International circuit. And yeah, we saw some fantastic action here in the series last week. We hope that it continues this time, Adam.
Here we are, yeah. I'll run through the championship standings in a moment, but let's have a look at the provisional order in qualifying. It's Jack Sedgwick that's on provisional pole, then it's Ross McFarlane in second, who we're looking at, and then it's Ash Sutton in third, fourth Jake Blackhall, fifth is Dempsey, then Savidovic, Harrod, Balfour, Thompson and Cooper completing the top 10, and the top 10 separated by just half a second, so it's the typically close qualifying times here in the ARLTC. Don't know why it says practice at the top of your screen, but this is most definitely the qualifying session. Jake Blackhall, good to see him up the order. He's in provisional 4th on the grid, and he'll be hoping for a decent outing here today after having not had the best of luck at the first 2 race meetings. So looking forward to see what's going to happen there. Jack Sedgwick, who was so cruelly ruled out at the title fight last season, he's had a very good start to the season. Got I believe 2 victories last time out at Silverstone, and we're hoping to carry that form forward here to Virginia International Raceway. It's Jason Cooper that completes the top 10. Luke Cooper, his namesake, is leading the Pro-Am Drivers' Championship. He has got relatively comfortable advantage over Simon Fields. Then it's Mark Woodhouse in 3rd, Lee Berridge 4th, Adam Hedgecock 5th, Pete Newman 6th, Matt Bunn 7th, Mark Johnston 8th, 9th is Rob Sutherland, and John Roberts completing the top 10 there. In the Teams Championship, it's CQR Pure Sims with just a 5-point advantage over CQR Club, and it's also met Craig Setup Shot, an Apex Racing team, in 5th. And then it's similarly close in the Teams AMS Championship with Boosted Sim Sport ahead of Boosted Motorsport by just 5 points. So everything positioned nicely here as we look at the cars going around the track in qualifying. Looking here at Mark Woodhouse, who is currently the top AM driver in the qualifying session, and going into turn 1, and you can see how the cars look to slide about here in the opening sector, especially when he got on the brakes. There are some heavy braking zones around here. Turn 1 and at the end of the very long back straight. These ARL TCR cars, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Andrew, they're not the most aero dependent, but at tracks like these with straights like these, you should be able to pick up a decent tow around here.
Yeah, I reckon there'll be enough there for the drivers to work with and make some overtakes. The only issue really that they've got here is at the end of the long straights, at the end of the back straight, because it's the fast SS section, isn't it? So that's not really a great overtaking spot. Turn 1's probably the best bet into the tight right hand. I think that'll be the one.
Plenty of runoff area around here, as we've come to know in the series in the past.
Well, it's not strictly runoff area, is it? But I get what you say. They're not going to hit things.
Room to bail.
yeah, that's it. That's it. We saw Max Wright's interpretation of the layout, didn't we, a few seasons ago at this very circuit. Didn't go down too well with the race officials on that occasion.
Yeah, I think it didn't go down well with the officials or the drivers.
No, certainly not.
It was a bit of a novelty to us. It was quite unfortunate, really. What happened was the section that we were just looking at around the oak tree, which incidentally isn't there anymore, he completely missed that out. Came back onto the circuit, had to serve the mother of all slowdowns, and then he was still serving it by the time they got to the right-hander, the big braking point at the end of the back straight, and everyone couldn't avoid him, basically. Took out a few championship contenders as well, I think, on that occasion. But here is Conor Parise, hometown hero, pretty much. One of a few Americans in the field, alongside Kevin Carlisle and Tyler Vickery. And he's currently in 23rd place. He had a good start to the campaign at Mid-Ohio and backed that up with a solid performance at Silverstone last time out. And he'll be hoping that familiar surroundings here at Virginia will come to his advantage here, as the qualifying session is now at an end. The checker flag is now out, and everybody that's currently on a fast lap will have to complete it. I'm not too sure how this circuit would go in reverse. I did see in the news today in the gossip columns that Silverstone have said that they're willing to do the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in reverse. I don't know how we'd find that if it ever came to it, Andrew.
Well, it'd just be a completely new challenge, but I mean, this circuit is obviously king of a lot of different layouts, isn't it? And we see some very, very long and twisty layouts, some very short ones for the slower vehicles. So, yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows really what's going to transpire in this strange year that is 2020? And we just wanted to say, obviously, it goes without saying that our thoughts are with everybody who's currently fighting the coronavirus and doing everything they can to stay at home, which is fantastic. And we've just had in the UK the minute's applause for the NHS and frontline staff, and you know, we thank them for literally saving our lives. So we hope that you guys can go out and show appreciation in your countries, wherever you're watching this, for everybody who's keeping us as safe as humanly possible. And for now, we're going to enjoy some racing at them, and this qualifying session is nearly at an end.
Indeed, yeah, second all of that. Looking here at Wojciech Savinovic, who is on a late lap. He's coming up to the top of the hill now. Cars going off left, right and centre. One of his colleagues at SDK Gaming nearly going into the back of him there. Now he's got the final section to go. A lot of cars parked up. Some drivers that may have picked up an off track and invalidated their lap. Here comes the reigning champion. Is he going to go for a fast one? It looks like he is. Let's see if it's going to be good enough to move him up from what is currently P8 on the grid. A 57.5 is his best time. A 57.1 is the time to beat, and he does come over the line and does a 57.6, which is just a tenth of a second slower than his personal best, so he stays in 8th position. Looking here at Kevin Carlisle, who is on the back straight heading into one of the other pit lanes that we've got around here. As Andrew was saying, we have got many layouts. There is a layout even bigger than this, but fortunately we are on the full circuit. I think if we were on the Grand Western, it does get pretty technical in that infield section. A lot of downhill and uphill sections, which probably wouldn't have lended itself to too much good racing around there.
No, and we just talked about Kevin Carlisle there. I feel like he could be. He's a driver who we've not really said a lot about, but he races in some of the other series on the channel, and you know, he does extremely well in that. He's won many races, so I feel like, given the opportunity to fight at the front, he could be one that ends up winning a few races this season.
Indeed. So we have got just a couple of seconds to go until we advance, and we have around 50 cars once again battling it out. We've got the Hungarian contingent back again for another race meeting in Daniel Naj and Gergo Baldi. And here we go, the cars are starting to grid up. So Jack Sedgwick starts on pole position. It's not provisional anymore, he's got it. Josh Thompson starting in second, then Ross McFarlane third, Jake Blackwell fourth, Ash Sutton dropping down to 5th place in the qualifying order in the end. Peter Dempsey starting in 6th, he was very good last night at Donington. Pete Harrows 7th, Wojciech Savinovic 8th, 9th Ross Balfour, and 10th Jason Cooper. He too was doing very well last night in the other TCR series. Keith Dempsey 11th, Tim Stabani starting in 12th, 13th for Ben Palmer, and then a couple of hundredths behind him it's Jamie Rushworth in 14th. George Simmons for SDK Gaming in 15th, and then Mark Woodhouse, who is the top AM driver, in 16th place. 17th Pete Newman, also an AM driver, and then Craig Williams, Adam Hedgecock and Mike Horder in 20th place. Luke Cooper in 21st, and the first of the Brazilian contingent, that's Paulo Preto. Conor Parise in 23rd place, Jack Stiles 24th, and then 25th on the grid Michael Blake. Kevin Carlisle, Andrew was just mentioning him there, he's starting in 26th. 27th Lee Berridge, then Matt Bunn in 28th, David Von Breck in 29th, and John Roberts there in 30th. Simon Field 31st, Johnny Adam for Scotland in 32nd, Bram Clace 33rd, then Sean Gardner, Rob Barrable, Tyler Lugo Vickery in 36th place, and then cars, most of which didn't set times. 37th Tim Greven I should say, then Michael Evdoka, Adam McNally, Daniel Naj, Damien Harris, Gergo Baldi, Kip Stevens, Mark Johnston, Scott Malcolm, Jake Robertson down there, Rob Graham, Mark Jones, and at the back, on the back row, all by himself, it is Dave Baker. Around 15 seconds to go until we get going. Plenty of teams inside the top 10. This is probably, in terms of the Teams Championship, one of the most competitive, set to be one of the most competitive seasons in memory. We've got multiple CQR teams, we've got Apex and SDK Gaming, and we've also got Craig Setup Shop and Turn 3 Motorsports. All we care about now are those 5 red lights. And the lights around, we're away. Front-wheel drive, meaning it's not the best getaway for many, but it's Jack Sedgwick that leads going into the first corner. Ross McFarlane looks like it's got past Josh Thompson as well, so through in second place goes McFarlane. And Josh Thompson's now got to worry about the advances of Ash Sutton, who's also had a good start. He's managed to get past Jake Blackhall, who's dropped down to 5th. Peter Dempsey has managed to maintain his 6th place, and the reigning champion Wojciech Savidovic has managed to leapfrog Pete Harrod in the early exchanges. So it's Sedgwick leading for Apex Racing Team, and then it's Ross McFarlane in P2, Josh Thompson 3rd, Sutton 4th, Jake Blackhall in 5th, and everybody else trying to find some sort of order in the early going as we go through the tight and twisty section, and now out onto one of the long straights before the quick S's, which can often lead to trouble, especially on cold tyres. Josh Thompson here in 3rd place has got the former British Touring Car champion in Ash Sutton right on his bootlid in the early stages, and we'll see if they can make it all through this section without incident now. Up to the left-hander at the top of the hill, this is mightily difficult on cold tyres and cold brakes as well. It almost invites you to go off, especially if you're fighting with a car as well. Sutton up the inside of Thompson. Thompson gives him just enough space, and Sutton through up into 3rd place. A great start for Ash Sutton. Next up on his list is Ross McFarlane, and now we'll get a good indication of what the slipstream is like. We've got a car off. That is Ben Palmer. Not the best start to the evening for Ben. CQR Club teammate Jake Blackhall in the mix here in the top 5. After losing 1 spot at the start, he is hanging on to the coattails here of Ash Sutton and Josh Thompson as we come up to the top of the hill. Hard on the brakes, over the crest, and now we plunge down the roller coaster section. I believe it's named. Oh no, Jake Blackhall's off. Well, this hasn't been the best start to the evening for CQR Club, has it? With Ben Palmer off at the start of the straight, and now Jake Blackhall going off now. Pete Harrod is now the highest CQR Club car in the field, and he's got Ross Balfour just in front of him as we come up to the timing line to complete the opening lap of the race. It's Jack Sedgwick that leads, but for how much longer? Ross McFarlane has had a fantastic run out of the final corner, and he could wager an opportunity to try and get the lead. It looks like he's remaining in 2nd, but this is going to allow Ash Sutton to close onto the back of them even more once they start squabbling. Sutton, who I think he'll admit didn't have the best race meeting at Silverstone last week. Race 1 was pretty good. Had a fantastic battle there for the lead, but then race 2 and race 3 did not go at all well. One thing that is new for this season in the ARLTC is the real life damage that iRacing has brought in for this season. So we've got bits of bodywork, we've got tyres, wheels flying everywhere, and I wonder if we might see that today. As we mentioned in the qualifying program, that section of the show, we do have vast open spaces where you don't have to hit anything, but if you do end up clipping something, then you may pick up some damage that could ruin your race. 20-minute race, of course, race 1, and we're 3 minutes into that now as up to the top and through past the oak tree go Ross McFarlane, Ash Sutton, and our race leader Jack Sedgwick. Now, it was a good exit by McFarlane there. He's 0.3 of a second away from Sedgwick, and let's see how much he closes in. He's already closed the gap down by 1/10 of a second. And could this be an early opportunity for McFarlane to take the lead here? Looking from the rear of Jack Sedgwick, and over the top of the hill he decides not to, he thinks about it, and very nearly clips the rear of the Apex Racing Team car. An early indication of Ross McFarlane's intentions. He has no intention of staying behind Jack Sedgwick, but with only 4 minutes in the books, discretion is probably the better part of valour on that occasion. Texans Fitstyle Motorsports having a fantastic start to the season too. Allow me go to start lap 3 of the race. Fastest lap from Ash Sutton on that last time around, but that's immediately trumped by Peter Dempsey, who's got a bit of clear air now, and he's trying to bring along Wojciech Savidovic. two cars that are running the blue and white scheme. We are getting used to that now as the season progresses. We started the season out in America, in the States, at Mid-Ohio. And we went to Silverstone National last week. And now we're back in the States again, as off goes Tim Stabani, the German, going for a little excursion there on the exit of one of the 90-degree left-handers. Believe it or not, you can really gain quite a lot of time through this section, even though it is single file, over quite the big rumble strips here. Now under the bridge, past one of the other layouts at Virginia International Raceway, which this series has used in the past. Long uphill right-hander, just where those cones are on the left-hand side of your screen. Now through the fast S's. Ash Sutton is shown as off. I think he's back on the circuit again. Yes, indeed he is. He has gone for an off, Ash Sutton, but looks like he hasn't lost any time at all. If anything, he's gained a bit of time. Not too sure what the former BTCC champion did there, but he almost looks poised to take second place off Ross McFarlane, who has dropped a little bit further back from Jack Sedgwick. Just a couple of attempts in it. And Sutton, when he can sense the opportunity for a move, he doesn't usually hang about. Is he going to do the same here? On the brakes, sliding about, even though, because these cars being front wheel drive, once you get on the brakes, it really does tend to get very light. The trick is not to panic, otherwise you were finding yourself off in the grass and heading towards those tyre barriers that cover the perimeter of this circuit. Over the curbs goes Ross McFarlane. That's going to make Ash Sutton smell some blood in the water even more. Over the line we go to start lap 4. It's just around a 2-minute lap here, and Sutton's got the opening. I'd say that was a dummy. Up the inside he goes. And he's got it done. So the CQR Pure Sims car now up to P2. 3 places gained for Sutton. And next on his hit list is Jack Sedgwick, who will be looking at the relative and looking in his mirrors. They're seeing the former BTCC champion come in. And starting to wonder about how we can stop the 116 car gaining some time on him. The gap between them is 0.5 of a second, half a second, as you can see in the bottom right of your picture. And the top 7 covered by the best part of, well, 2 or 3 seconds. There you go, 3.4 seconds. That's what we like to see here in the ARLTC. Of course, if you're new, welcome. We do have 3 races coming up for you today. Reverse grids after race 1 and race 2. We're hoping that we get them in as Sutton runs a bit wide. Might allow Ross McFarlane back through now after all that hard work to try and get by the TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport car. Oh, Sutton, he might have had some of the dirt still on the tyres. On to the back straight we go. And look at Jack Sedgwick, this is music to his ears, music to his eyes almost, because he'll be seeing in the mirror that the gap is now a second. Ross McFarlane, he's pinned the car to the inside, but Sutton, he's kept it there. And I don't think he's going to show any signs of moving. He might move back over to the racing line. Now he does. Late enough so that Ross McFarlane cannot get up the inside. And now Josh Thompson fancies his chances of a spot on the podium and maybe some of the bubbly as well. So we're expecting around 9 or 10 laps here at Virginia International Raceway, with the laps being just around 10 minutes. Sorry, 2 minutes a lap. We're approaching the 10-minute mark already. By the time we get this next lap in the books, we'll be at the halfway point in this opening race of the day. Reverse grid can be anything really, from around 26 cars all the way up to potentially a full reverse grid, depending on how many finishers. If you finish 1 lap down in this championship, you are still a classified finisher. If you finish 2 laps down, you get 0 points, and you'll be starting where you finished, which in race 1 is something that you don't want to do really, because otherwise you're going to be on the back foot for the rest of the race meeting. Thompson up, trying to think of a move up the inside there. That is a corner where you really don't see overtakes happening too often. Now we begin our race towards the S's again, looking from the front bumper of Josh Thompson's Audi RS3 LMS. See, they let it go on the rev limiter before they eventually shift up. Left, right, left, using quite a lot of the curves, a dab of the brakes, a little lift to the throttle. Now we head left towards the oak tree. A few wheels onto the curb, exit curb there. This is where we saw Sutton quite sideways on the previous lap. Now through the hard right, slowest point of the circuit. And now onto the back straight we go again. Since since that error on the previous lap, it looks like Sutton's managed to close the gap down a little bit now, down to 0.8 of a second. So this battle for the battle for the lead is by no means out of the equation. Top pro-am in the field is Pete Newman. He is currently in P13. But look at this. This is Wojciech Savinovic against Turn 3 Motorsports' Peter Dempsey. And Dempsey fortunately was on the inside there, otherwise I think both of them would have come to blows. Dempsey putting on a solid defensive display against the former champion here. Turn 3 Motorsports started out this season in the ARLTC. Things have been going pretty well for them so far. They were very close to getting their debut win in the series last time out at Silverstone. And they're currently in the top 5 again here as Dempsey comes over the line to start lap 6. New personal best from Jack Sedgwick. Ash Sutton, fastest lap of the race, 57.4. He is closing the gap little by little, down to 0.6 of a second now in the fight for first. And there is the man in second place. Yeah, Pro-Am order, as you can see on the timing tower on your left-hand side. Cars in blue are fighting for the Pro-Am honours. Cars in the red fighting for the overall championship. Pete Newman is currently top of the Pro-Am order. There you go, as you can tell from the graphics at the top of your screen. And then it's Luke Cooper, and then Adam Hedgecock, Lee Berridge, Jack Stiles, and Matt Bunn. Andrew Woodhouse joins us back in the commentary box. Any closest to getting in the session, mate? Not too sure. Anyway, halfway in the books then. Biggest gainers so far, at least on my timing screens. Damien Harris has gained 17 spots. Mark Johnston also up 17. So quite a lot of the cars that started outside the top 30 getting in there nice and early. Most of them not setting times due to various penalties that may have got dished out as we go back up to the Oak Tree Bend again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm trying. I'm not getting in at the moment, but I've been watching the race. I think it's been fantastic so far. Oh, as you can hear your own voice in the background. Yeah, fantastic battles between Sutton and McFarlane, Thompson, Savinovic and Dempsey. So yeah, it's been great stuff.
And here's another battle. This is Ross Balfour trying to get past Wojciech Savinovic. He was trying to get past Peter Dempsey a lap ago. Now he's going to try and find Balfour going around his outside. And this might just work out, you know, because the next corner, as you can see, is a left-hander. And Balfour has got it done. That might be a contender for moving the race meeting already. As Balfour now goes up into 6th place through the final corner. And next up is Peter Dempsey, who's managed to pull out a little bit of an advantage, 0.6 of a second, in fact, while those two were squabbling through the roller coaster section. Fight for the lead.
Like great stuff for the AM category as well, from what I've seen as well. Newman and
oh yeah,
Newman and Cooper. You know, they're not that close together, but Cooper's closing in.
Paris and Williams were very close over the timing line. A couple of hundredths in it between those two. There you go. Craig set up shops. Craig Williams and Conor Paris, the American, who has had a very good opening race. He's gained 7 places. This could be about to be 8. But if he gets this done around the outside, I'd be amazed, because this is a tricky series of left-handers. Williams has got the upper hand. He's got the inside line. The corner now goes right, so Paris is brave enough to get up the inside. Fortunately, he doesn't risk an incident, and Williams is able to hold on to 15th place. And this has now bunched things up even more, because Adam Hedgecock for Boosted has now arrived onto the scene. And this is one of the qualities of the ARLTC. Everywhere you look, there's battles going on, and with the Pro and Pro-Am split, it means there's fights for championships pretty much everywhere in the field as well.
And Craig Williams, probably the second person that I've seen who's raced on this channel with his own face on his car.
I wonder who the first person was.
No comment at all. I think probably Roy Ververke just has nightmares about him.
Well, PTSD, I think.
I can't get in, boys, because speaking of PTSD, I think I'm having it here. I can't get into the session, so I'm going to abandon it, I'm afraid. And we'll see what happens with the second race if we can't get it.
13 minutes in, so we haven't got too long for race 2. What I am worried about is the fact that iRacing has got maintenance planned for 8 o'clock UTC, which is GMT, GMT +1 here in the UK. So that would be 9 o'clock. I hope that doesn't interfere with this race meeting, but that is hanging over us. Over the line goes Jack Sedgwick then. He's not worrying about maintenance at all. He's worrying about maintaining his lead. As Sutton and McFarlane go at it into the first corner again. They've already had one battle today. And Sutton, who wants to look forward and try and get as close as he can to Jack Sedgwick, is now worrying about this guy. And Wojciech Savinovic has gone off. He's now down to P11, just after setting the fastest first sector of anybody. That's a massive shame for the reigning champion, but P11 is worse than a DNF, and he knows all too well about that. He's won pretty much the last few championships, the ARLTC, formerly the BSRTC, running on a Thursday. Used to be on Motors TV back in the day. And he's won the championships in 2016, 17, 18, 19 and 20. The only person to depose him really was Sebastian Job, and we know what he's gone on to do. F1 Esports, drives for Red Bull now, and he was the champion back in 2015. But problems for Wojciech Swidovic in the first race of the day is the top 4 come back up to the top of the hill. 5 minutes to go here in the opening race of the day at Virginia International Raceway, and the gap between first and second remains at half a second. Oh no, Jake Blackwell's off. The Aussie who started, oh no, now that must be at the oak tree. Now that was where Ben Palmer, his teammate, went off earlier on in the race, and there's Wojciech Swidovic down in 10th place, ahead of a driver that also went off earlier on in Tim Stabani. So they're cut adrift from everyone else now. They're 3 seconds away from the next car and 2 seconds away from the car behind them. So these two might, as long as neither of them go off, they might be in the places that they're going to finish now, with just a quarter of the race to go as the fight for 5th and 6th continues to rage on. Over the top of the hill we go. Ross Balfour, he's been plugging away at this gap since getting past Pete Harrod earlier and getting past Wojciech Swidovic. But Dempsey, just like he did to Wojciech, is keeping it on the inside, and this is what's been so important here. And Balfour continues to plug away. Pete Harrod just behind them in 7th. He remains where he started, and he is the highest CQR club car now. I think at the start of the race meeting it was Jake Blackwell, but since the incident to the Aussie, it is now Pete Harrod that flies the flag for them. They are currently only 5 points away from CQR Pure Sims in the team's championship, so some useful points set to be bagged from Harrod if he can stay there. In the foreground of the shot, it looks like Ross McFarlane could be about to get past Sutton again, at least not in this section, surely. On board we go with the Texense Finstein Motorsports car. Flying over the curbs, you can even see the helmet moving with each corner in the rear view mirror. Sutton, he's done that before. Does get away with it once again. Little look at the inside there into the oak tree bend. And fortunately, if you're going to get a move done there, you've got to get it up the inside in the first part of that right hander, or try and prise the door open yourself. See what kind of speeds these guys can get up to down the back straight here. We're currently around 212, 220, 230 kilometers an hour. We reached 240. I think we reached about 230, that's for sure, as we got on the brakes. I think Peter Dempsey and Ross Balfour are very close too, but fights everywhere you're looking. Can McFarlane get it done here? Sutton a bit sideways on the exit. Over time along we go then to start what will be the penultimate lap. We should be able to squeeze a few more in. Ross McFarlane, he was passed here from Sutton earlier. He's trying to repay the favour this time. Ross McFarlane's got to be a little bit careful, because if he's not looking in the mirror enough, Josh Thompson might get by. Here's the fight for a spot in the top 9 between Jason Cooper and Keith Dempsey. Turn 3 Motorsport Red, Keith Dempsey, and Automex Jason Cooper.
I'm in.
He's in the session.
In the session, ladies and gentlemen.
With 90
that
seconds.
took an hour. But we're there. So, there's been no real changes in the top 5 then since the few minutes that I was away. I didn't realise, I apologise, I left the video playing. My mic wasn't muted, so I'm sorry about that. So, it looks like it's strung out a tiny bit though, hasn't it? Svidovic has been off. And relinquished quite a few places.
Sutton's got into a rhythm of going off in the left-hander before the oak tree bend. But it's not hindering him at all, that's for sure.
No. As long as he doesn't reach that incident limit, should be fine. Thompson hanging on pretty well. Dempsey's dropped off, hasn't he? What, do we know? Do we know why that is?
Not too sure actually why he has dropped off. Incident limit is 17. Highest incident. Just Simon Fields got 17 incidents, so he's been DQ'd. Johnny Adams one incident away from a DQ. Mark Woodhouse is around the bubble too, so that's a point that's oh god, Johnny Adams' car's all sorts of banged up. But yeah, Jack Sedgwick, he's not having to worry about the incidents too much, and he doesn't have to worry about anybody really, because he's got a handy 1.6 second lead as we come around to get the white flag.
Yeah, and well, he's led from the start as Jack Sedgwick, and he really has done a great job side by side then into turn one. Oh, Thompson late on the brakes. He's too late on the brakes. He hits McFarlane. McFarlane goes off into the grass, and that's saved Ash Sutton. He waits for him though, Thompson. Great sportsmanship shown, but that will not help Ross McFarlane in his pursuit of second place, which has now disappeared down the road, and it has now put Thompson in jeopardy from Dempsey, and now Balfour are trying to take advantage of the Irishman, well, the Northern Irishman on the man for the Republic of Ireland.
Oh, this is brilliant. We've got the man from the Isle of Man, and then we've got the Republic of Ireland, and we've got Northern Ireland. So we've got the fight of the Irish Sea going on here.
There you go.
And Thompson looks like he's just about got back into a rhythm, because for a moment there it looked like Peter Dempsey was going to grab that top four spot in the dying embers of the race.
Yeah, and that's relieved the pressure on Ash Sutton, so he can drive the last lap pretty much unabated. Look at this train going around the old tree, which isn't there because it was knocked over by a storm, wasn't it? A tornado or something.
Oh, Jack Sedgwick's blown away the field in this this opening race.
Very good.
And yeah.
He has been terrific though, hasn't he? He took away from the start, and he's been just unassailable, hasn't he? As look at this, that's Balfour. Well, just about seeing it. We might have to come back to it because Jack Sedgwick's about to come over the line, Adam.
Here he is through the final corner. He was pressured in the early stages, but since then he's pulled away and has a commanding lead. We saw something similar at Silverstone last week, and here we are today. Jack Sedgwick wins the opening race at Virginia International Raceway. Second place is going to go to Ash Sutton. Final spot on the podium is going to be Ross McFarlane's, but look at this fight to the line. Many cars using the slipstream in the closing stages. Jason Cooper just about keeping Keith Dempsey at bay to finish in P8. Dempsey 9th and Wojciech Savidovic running up the top 10. Here comes Luke Cooper. It was Pete Newman's Pro-Am race for most of it, but in the end it's Cooper that takes the Pro-Am honours for Automech. They'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, he was catching him in the middle of the race, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't get back in time to see the overtake, but yeah, he that's a great win for Cooper. He's been very impressive this season, I must say.
Conor Parise, the American, comes home in 16th place.
He gained a lot of places, didn't he? 7 or 8 places, I think it was.
Top American, that is for sure, yeah. With Kevin Carlisle, second highest American. In second, Daniel Nage heads home the Hungarian contingent. He finishes 24th with 16 places gained. Biggest mover, in fact, was Damien Harris, who gained 20 places to finish 21st in the end, so just behind Ben Palmer.
That's impressive. We've had a real influx of new talent into this series this season. It's probably the most new drivers I think we've seen in about 3 or 4 years, I'd say.
Yeah, new drivers, new teams. It does mean that the Teams Championship could be contested by a few others. Obviously, it's been Apex v CQR for quite a long time here, at least in the Pro Championship anyway. But with the influx of TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport, with Turn 3 Motorsports also turning up, it's as open as it could possibly be this season, I reckon.
That's what this series is all about. It's all about the close racing. It's all about the close competition from the back of the grid to the front. And we've seen that. Oh, Sedgwick. Sedgwick having a bit of fun with Thompson there. I think that is. Or was it Williams? He's annoying one of them anyway.
127. That was, goodness me, not too. It was Craig Williams, yeah. Jack Sedgwick wins the first race of the day here at Virginia. Hopefully it's not the last. Oh God, cars trying to avoid one another on the race back to the pits. Sutton finishes second, third for Ross McFarlane, Josh Thompson in fourth, fifth for Peter Dempsey, and then sixth for Ross Balfour, seventh for Pete Harrod, Jason Cooper, then Keith Dempsey just a tenth of second behind, and Wojciech Savinovic completing the top 10. Tim Stabani, the German, in 11th, Luke Cooper, the highest AM driver, in 12th, Craig Williams 13th, then Pete Newman, Lee Berridge, then it's Conor Parise in 16th, 17th for Jack Stiles, and then Matt Bunn in 18th place. 19th for Kevin Carlisle, and then it's Ben Palmer in 20th. Damien Harris, the driver that has gained the most places in this opening race, 20 places gained, he finishes 21st. Then we've got Adam Hedgecock in 22nd, 23rd for David Von Breck, Daniel Nage in 24th place, then Mark Johnston, Jamie Rushworth, Michael Blake there in 27th place for Team Mad, and then Gergo Baldi in 28th for Instant Driving Academy. 29th for Tim Greven, and then Jake Blackhall unfortunately down in 31st place after such a good qualifying effort. George Simmons 32nd, then Paolo Preto, Mark Woodhouse, John Roberts in 35th place, Scott Malcolm 36th, then Sean Gardner 37th, Kip Stevens there in 38th in the Automech AM, 39th Rob Barrable, and then 40th I should say, Simon Field, 41st Mike Horder, and then Bram Clace, Adam McNally 1 lap down, and then the cars 2 laps down or more. Johnny Adam 2 laps down, Jake Robertson 3, Tyler Vickery 10 laps down, and then the cars that must have had issues in the early stages of the race, Rob Graham, Mark Jones, and not the start to the evening that Dave Baker wanted. He finishes at the back in 49th place.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, terrific race though. Really enjoyed that one. And stick with us here on the iRacing Esports Network, because there are going to be 2 more races tonight. Well, we hope, as we reach that 9 o'clock threshold shortly, and we'll see exactly what goes down there. But for now, we've got to determine who's going to be on to pole position, and Sam Kumar is going to have the reverse grid wheel for us. Sam.
That's right. And this week I actually got my pegs in order, so it's looking much better. So let's spin it, and also let's hope that we can get the second race going. It is full -3. Oh, sorry. Yeah, full -3.
Full -3, so -1, -2, -3. Simon Field, I think. Bram Clace would be -1, Mike Horder -2, Simon Field -3. Yeah, so Simon Field will be on the pole for race 2. I should say there's no DQ limit. I think you just
no way. I think it's Clace, isn't it?
I've got the sim open. McNally would have got it if it was full. -1 Bram Clace, -2 Mike Corder, -3 Simon Field.
Oh wow, okay, I've got the wrong order on my screen. Oh, no worries, I've got that. Yeah, that's fine. You were right.
Yeah, I'm going off the sim.
It is Simon Field. It is. The results just got jumbled on my screen for some reason.
Okay, yeah, he's on the pole. Rob Barrable 2nd, Kip Stevens 3rd, 4th Sean Gardner, and Scott Malcolm in 5th. We hope we'll be able to see that when we come back from this break, which is happening now. So join us in a moment where we'll be hopefully on the grid and set to bring you the second race of the day here in Virginia in the ARLTC Championship. Don't go anywhere.
he's going to get them all done with. What amazing.
Lead to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save.
Look to the outside as Kroenke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howling down to the inside.
He's trying this contact though.
And wide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and the ARLTCR. Some sad news to bring you actually is that we can't go ahead with the rest of the races because there is iRacing maintenance as said, and it wasn't really see that with until really we started this session. And unfortunately, sessions cannot be started, so the meeting has had to be voided, I'm afraid. And Adam, that's a terrible shame, but it's just it's one of those things, I guess.
Yes, it is. Yeah, my racing maintenance doesn't happen too often, but unfortunately, we've caught it here today, and we were getting set for a very good second and third races here with quite a big reverse grid. So hopefully, we'll be able to pick this race meeting up next week. I think it's happened before, where we've had the remaining 2 races of a race meeting. I think that happened at Brands Hatch once a couple of years ago. So yeah, we will hope to bring you the conclusion to this race meeting, I presume this time next week.
Yeah, and well, you know, in the meantime, you know, like we say, everybody be safe, stay at home, and we're gonna sort of resume our own staying at home now, I guess, and not doing this sadly. But from all of us here at Apex Racing TV, this has been the iRacing Esports Network and the ARLTCR Championship, and we'll see you next week.